This that
Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's good?
Red Panda Anthem.
Is Twitter the perfect blueprint for what most tech companies should do to make companies profitable in this new era?
Yes. Short answer is yes. I think because of quantitative easing and the money flowing easily and everyone on Instagram telling everyone to be entrepreneurs, that they confused the audience into thinking that it was easy to grow, scale, and be profitable. Now going into this recession, which I called November of last year, you have to find a way, and I've been telling my team this, even when I went to the street, normally, you know, CNBC, their shows have a bigger set. Kramer himself is down to him, a producer, and 3 screens. As big as Mad Money is. I'm watching the halftime report. Shout out to God, I mean, everyone I met there. Everyone's producing, like, when I was talking to Loon, I'm like, you have to be able to create your own segments, be your own field producer. We see you guys, you got to be able to shoot, audio engineer, edit, color grade, and do social. The world is changing. The era that from 2023 to 2030 is if you are not able to do the job of 5 people, you will not be hired. This goes for every business genre. And behind the scenes, what Elon has done, even though it's been sloppy, a lot of venture capital firms are now expecting companies to do the same thing that he is doing, which is to have a lighter staff, produce higher returns, and it also gives you a longer runway for capital. So you have more capital in your business and you don't have as short of a runway. So companies that were thinking about maybe going out of business in 12 months, by scaling down their workforce, they now have 24, 36 months of cash available. You're going to see every major tech company, and as much as I hate to say it, because I've had a chance to meet some great people at Meta probably needs to cut 50% of their workforce in order to be viable. We're going to see this at scale. As a person, if you have a job or if you're an entrepreneur, I can't say it, but I'll give you guys a rounded number. I asked someone on the floor, I'm like, hey, I saw a trader get preferential treatment. She's now going to become partner. I said, hey, what did she do to become partner? He said she replaced the work of 10 people in 1 year with people who were here with me 4 or 5 years prior. In 1 year, she replaced 10. And these were not low level, and these were big dogs. And she came in and replaced minimum of 10. That's why I always go back to risk to reward. If I'm putting $1 in, can I get 10 out? Can I get 11 out? Can I get 50? If I can get 50, I'll do that all day. So yes, this era, we're going to have to go back to being ultra efficient because the capital is not there. And in a recession, you have to make drastic cuts in order to be more successful.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And now that I think of it, you're dead on, especially in this space. And you've seen it a lot of times when we're on the road. You're like, wait, you guys, you're doing everything, and it's like, yeah, we do everything because we want to know every piece of our business, but it makes it more efficient, right? We're not even thinking of the standpoint of like, yeah, we're more profitable because we don't have to pay people to do it. At some point, we obviously do, but it's like, we want to know how to make this work even if no one's here. And so if you're talking about from a tech standpoint, it makes perfect sense to cut back and figure out who's the most skilled, right? Not even how many skills do you have, but who's the most skilled, because the most skilled person is probably going to be the most efficient one that's going to get the job done at an expedited time. I'm thinking about it from the standpoint, and when we're looking at tech companies, because you said it was sloppy.
Yeah.
And if you look at the reports of the inverse of what's happened, obviously with the Twitter, but what has it done to the other company that he also, owns, right? So that inverse of how it's affected the Tesla stock, it's been a negative impact just because of how, the investment has gone to Twitter, and people are trying to figure out how is this going to be profitable? Will it affect the other company? Like that's the piece that's interesting to me as well. What's your thoughts on that?
The truth is, great company, but Tesla is highly overvalued. And I would argue if John Mullally was there or any other American car executive, the price of Tesla now would have been there last year. The only reason that the value of Tesla was so high is because he's sitting in that seat. But I think everyone is thinking too short-sighted. We're in a recession, even though they won't announce it. Breaking news, we're in a recession. And if he's able to get this SpaceX off and the Neuralink thing. Whew. Icon living, Jaden Smith, right?
Yeah,
Different level of wealth, easy $2 trillion, right? So I think, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, please listen up, please write this down. The stock market is at the actual price where it should be once they took the steroids out of the market. I don't want to tell you anything though. Apple, Microsoft, as much as we fight it. And then, you know, I make the statement about going into cybersecurity and people are like, oh, they wouldn't do it. Why wouldn't they? Now, Apple has announced they're going to finally put out that car, and I put in a group text the reason why they're launching that car in that particular year. Please be mindful. There's only maybe 10 or 15 great companies. You don't need more information. You need to double down and put more capital into the companies that run the world so you can be rich. The question is, do you want to be rich or do you want to debate and not be accountable? Because the truth is, whenever Troy and Rashad get to Dubai, wherever the hell they're going, right? And I get next to King Griffin at Citadel. In 4 years, when you run into us, my first question to you is going to be, did you put in enough work for you to make $10 to $15 million in a year? You have the same information that we have. And the crazy part is I'm giving away all my real information in real time. Are you building every day? They just told you Robert is already rich, but he is still up and punctual every day. Put in chat, yes. And for the last 365 days, you haven't missed a day of work, no matter what happened in your life. The recession proves who really, and we hear all these stories in 1929 and 99 and 2001 about people who seize opportunities. I don't see enough people seizing. I see too many people talking. And I want to steer you guys back, right? So I think Elon, although it was sloppy, things are going to change. And if that happens in Silicon Valley, what do you think is going to happen in the middle of America? I told you guys a story. Apple team has a $2 trillion cash fund that is managed by 7 people. It is a minimum requirement for everybody in Red Panda Rebellion to bring in $10 million themselves, so you will not be on the team. The hell I need 50 people for if they have 7. And if you want to be an asset to a team, you got an episode of Assets and Liabilities this week? No, you at the final season. Revolt, time to renew. Shout out to Tavi. I appreciate you, brother. But if you want to be an asset to a team, find out how you can come in and 10x the business or 5x the business. It's an easy way to get a job. I think the era of easy jobs, easy partnerships, easy stocks, easy NFTs, which will crumble, and I said they will fall, and no one believed me, is gone. Now we're in the era of the super producer. And it's going to get to a point where you're going to have to 5x or 10x some shit just to get in the door. Otherwise, you can do it on your own and keep the capital costs down. What are your thoughts?
Capital costs down.
Have to.
Yeah, I think you hit the a nail on the head. Anything you want to add to that, Troy?
No, I think that you ended it perfectly. Keep the capital costs down. Find the most efficient people. That's going to be the theme of this week, right? Look, do an analysis of the people that you're around, especially in business and in the entrepreneurial world. Who is adding value at the most efficient level?
Everybody don't make the cut. It hurt too, boy. Whew. Everybody don't get to make 2023.
Subtract the weak links from out the chaining. Rise and start raining.
Okay.
Let's be more efficient.
Efficiency. Word of the day. Efficiency. Okay. Are we shocked at the information that was released in the leaked Twitter files? What is this whole situation about?
So some information came out from some people who worked at Twitter. 2 revelations that people are being shadow banned. Majority of people who are on the right wing or right leaning is one. And of course, they knew about the Russian hack before the election, and they knew about Hunter Biden's laptop and had all the information prior to. And I've seen a lot of people report on this and do shows and do breakdowns over the weekend. And I'm like, is anyone shocked that social media shadow bans people? I've seen it happen to, I don't even want to say his name. I love you, brother. I don't even want to say his name.
I got shadow banned twice. This is in the early stages of Earn Your Leisure, my own personal page. I got shadow banned. I was using, at that time, use hashtags. So it was like a hack where you put like 30 hashtags on each post, and that helps your engagement. What I didn't know is that if you do that too many times, it could become a red flag, and it could be, flagged as spam.
Yep.
And I got shadow banned. How I knew I got shadow banned was so obviously my engagement dropped, everything was lower, but I did like a random hashtag that nobody would have. Let's say like Ian Rashad Troy 197, something that nobody else would have, right? I put that on a post, and then I go to that hashtag, and then it doesn't show up. So that's how I knew, okay, like this is like my posts are not being shown. Because when you type in a hashtag, like on Instagram, if you type in, red chili pepper, when you hit red chili pepper, 1,000 red chili pepper posts come up. Whatever's in there comes up. So if you have a unique hashtag that nobody else has, then when you type in that, then you're supposed to come up. You're going to be the only one that comes up because you're the only one that has the hashtag. So when you don't come up, then it's a red flag. And then there was a couple other things that I had noticed, but it's definitely real. It's not a conspiracy theory at all. I experienced it firsthand. Like I said, I actually experienced it twice, and my page never really fully recovered from that either. At the time, I actually had more followers on my own personal page than Earn Your Leisure had. So the effects are long lasting, and it's extremely harmful, and it's real. So I know it's a lot of people think like it's a conspiracy, and it's actually real. And like I said, I can speak from firsthand experience. Shadow ban is definitely a real thing, and it lasts 14 days. And the crazy thing is, I did a whole research on this, and at that time, at least, it lasts 14 days. And 14 days to the day, I did the same test again, and then my hashtag started working again.
That's crazy.
And it was like the shadow ban was up. So now it's definitely a real thing for sure.
And now the part that is troubling is if these tech platforms that are left-leaning, because Twitter probably has the highest congregation of left-leaning employees, are they using that influence to rig an election or influence an election? Yes. I didn't think that was like the most controversial thing ever. Even with the Sam Bankman-Fried thing, all the money that he gave was a very strategic move on his part to receive some sympathy. Knowing the behind the scenes of the business makes total sense now. And then he went on left-leaning media, and they gave him softball questions. Like, I love Andrew Ross Sorkin dearly. Executive producer, one of my favorite shows ever, Billions. Boy, did they lob him some softball-ass questions that I did not think. And I know the thought is it's not our job to investigate or uncover scams, but when you have a person and he's being paraded around, and I think part of it is they're trying to make the case in a court of public opinion that he was unaware and that it was his team that did the customer transfer, so he is not guilty of fraud. I don't wish jail on anybody, but had that been you or I, there's no way on earth I would be given that kind of grace publicly amongst any media. I mean, I've publicly seen it, people copy this show format on large networks, and then I talk to somebody at the large network and I'm like, it's good for you to come on. I'm like, the format was good enough to come on. What do you mean? So I just think it's interesting. The purpose of media is to control public opinion. I just don't know why people were shocked that people are getting shadow banned and certain information is being released and leaked. And so it's the American way of business, always has been, always will be. It's just different players in the space now. But I don't think it's the most important news topic for us to cover, but it was so much conversation around it. We definitely had to address it.
This that.
Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's good?
Red